Hello friends, welcome to Viva Exams and Indian National Movement Initial Phase Part 2. We are gonna do the expected Mahatma Gandhi MCQs and these are a bit tough, so let's begin. While Gandhiji was still busy in his constructed work in Champaran, he had to rush to Ahmedabad in February 1918 to tackle the problem of the textile workers in response to appeal made by. So who was the person on whose advice he had to go to Ahmedabad for because of the textile worker problem? And the option D is missing here, so option D is Anusuya Behan. Anusuya Behan. So the answer is not Shankarlal Banker, not Kaka Kalikar, neither was it Vallabhbhai Patel, it was actually Anusuya Behan. So the answer would be Anusuya Behan. Faced with a labor problem, the textile mill owners declared a lockout on February 22nd, 1918, which continued till what date? So basically we are being asked the date, till what date was the textile mill owners lockout was. So this was around for 22 days, and keeping that in mind, the answer would be March of 11th, 1918. So this was locked out till 1918. So the answer is March 11th. The dispute between the textile owners and their employees were referred to arbitration, who acted as representative of the weavers. So basically the dispute went into arbitration and we are being asked that who acted as a representative of the weavers. So Gandhiji definitely was one. Shankarlal Banker was also there. Vallabhbhai Patel was also there. So the answer would be all of the three. When the lockout of the textile mills of Ahmedabad was lifted by the mill owners, the workers decided to go on a strike, demanding an increase in wages by. So basically, once the lockout was over, the workers went into a strike and they were demanding a raise in their salaries. So we are being asked how much was the raise which was being demanded and not how much raise were given by the mill owners. So the workers were asking for a 50% raise and the mill owners didn't agree to this. So the answer is 50%. So in these kind of questions, one needs to really be careful about what is being asked and what was being given. So in this case, the answer is 50%. Gandhiji resorted to fasting as a strike got critical. His fasting electrified the workers and the mill owners agreed to arbitration. Ultimately, the mill owners agreed to increase the salaries by. So basically now we are being asked that how much the mill owners increase the salaries by. So basically what needs to be seen here is like the mill owners also regarded Gandhiji as a very important political figure because his going on a hunger strike actually made the mill owners also think about it. Otherwise somebody might be sitting on a hunger strike and nobody cares. So anyways, the answer to this question is 35%. They increased the salaries by 35%. Who in the end was appointed as arbitrator to settle the labor dispute of the textile industry at Ahmedabad? So now we are being asked who the arbitrator was in this particular case, who acted as a judge between the textile mill owners and the laborers. So The answer to this would be Anand Shankar Dhruv. Please make a note of that. So he was the person who who was appointed as an arbitrator in this particular case. One of the first problems that Gandhiji tackled in the country was the problem of indentured labor. The system of export of labor from India on the basis of indenture that came with the abolition of Slavery Act in. Now we are being asked in which, I think we have covered this question in part 1 anyways. The answer is 1833, in which this particular problem was sorted. After how many days of strike was the settlement reached between Ahmedabad and textile mill owners and workers? So as I told you before, it was around 21 days. So that is the answer to this. Soon after Ahmedabad episode, Gandhiji was called upon to attend to the grievances in Kheda. So there was another dispute in Kheda. So we have seen that Champaran was first, Ahmedabad was the second one, and Kheda is the third one. So if you are asked for the sequence, so Champaran, Ahmedabad, Kheda. So who has already done the groundwork before his arrival? So basically we are being asked who was the person who had done the groundwork before he arrived there. So Amritlal Thakkar was already there, G.K. Devdar was already there, and M. Joshi was already there. So the answer would be all of them. So when this option is given, all of them, most of the time, this is the option which is correct. But still, it never hurts to remember the names of these guys. The cultivators of Kheda demanded a suspension of land revenue assessment for the year because of widespread failures of crop. They claimed that in comparison to the normal yield that year, the produce was. So basically what we are being asked that the cultivators said that there was a failure of crops, and the yield in that particular year was pretty less, which was around 25% instead of 100%. So that is the answer. Gandhiji personally visited over 50 villages and concluded that the villagers what they were saying is correct. And his final suggestion to the government, the grant was 2. So he basically asked the government, similar case to Champaran, but the reasons were different. And Gandhiji again met or visited over 50 villages in this particular case as well. And he recommended the government for to grant basically half suspension of the land revenues, which was a pretty decent demand, keeping in mind that the crops had failed and it was only 25% of the crops that were being grown. Who assisted Gandhiji in his struggle at Kheda and had to leave their roaring practice as a lawyer, which he was never able to resume? So we are being asked that who was the person who assisted Gandhiji. Of course, he was a lawyer and he had to leave his practice because of getting into politics, and which he was never able to resume. So we all know it was Vallabhbhai Patel. He was a person who had left his political legal career for politics, and this was the time when he did it. Despite several petitions, the government refused to give in the demands of Kheda peasants. This led to Gandhiji leading Satyagraha from March 1918. What was the date? Again, another question in regards to the date. So the date was 22nd of March when the Kheda struggle started. So that needs to be remembered. March 18th, 22nd, when Kheda started. Satyagraha in Kheda started. The government decided to use forceful measures to recover the land revenue, and it was decided that the crop of onion was wrongly attached, therefore should be removed before the government could attach all the crops. A person decided to take up this adventure and was caught and imprisoned for a brief period of time. He was also called the Onion Thief. So if you are asked who the Onion Thief was, so this is the event where all this happened, and it was none other than Mohanlal Pandya. He was also known as the Onion Thief because of this Kheda incident. The Kheda struggle lasted for. So how many months did Kheda struggle lasted for? This is a simple question. 4 months is the answer to this. The Kheda struggle lasted for around 4 months. Identify the place from where Gandhiji started his campaign for the war on behalf of the British government. So basically we are being asked from where. Of course he was in Kheda, so this would be Kheda. But if this question comes in alone, since we are doing the Kheda episode, therefore we know the answer is Kheda, otherwise it needs to be remembered that it was Kheda. Gandhiji's support for the British government and his acting as a recruitment agent for the British came as a surprise to his admirers, and the reason which he gave was the following. So basically all his admirers thought, why is Gandhiji helping the British out and other things. So the reasons which Gandhiji gave was, while as an individual I was opposed to the war, I had no status of offering effective non-violence resistance. This was reason one. I had to first qualify for Swaraj through the good offices of Statesmen of Empire, and I had to support the empire and struggle. So basically wanted to be in the good books of the empire. This is correct. This one is also correct. Non-violent resistance can only follow some real disinterested service, some heartfelt expression. So he believed that basically the British Empire, after seeing his efforts, would grant India Swaraj or Dominion status, but he was wrong. Anyways, the answer is all of the above, since we know two of the statements are correct in this case. So the fourth statement is definitely correct. At which place did Gandhiji launch the first no tax campaign in the country in 1918? So again, he was in Kheda, so definitely that is the place from where he would have launched the no tax campaign. So guys, if you know that if Gandhiji was in Kheda at that in 1918, so all the things which he had done was from Kheda. The Montague-Chelmsford report, which came in July 1918, led to an expression of a very conflicting opinion. What was Gandhiji's reaction? We all know that summary consideration, sympathetic consideration and summary rejection. So that is A. Simple question. Gandhiji was startled by the recommendations of the Rowlatt Act report. He discussed it for the first time and shared his apprehensions with. So Gandhiji read the report and he had his apprehensions. So we are being asked who was the first person with whom he shared his thoughts. So we know that Vallabhbhai Patel was in Kheda with him. So obviously it would be Vallabhbhai Patel, and that is the answer to this. So guys, this brings us to part 2 of the Indian national movement, Gandhiji's role. And I hope you're enjoying these videos. Please do like and subscribe to this channel, since I'm putting in a lot of effort in making these videos, as well as bringing you good questions. And these would definitely help you in understanding our history better, besides regular questions. So thank you so much, and see you in the next episode. Take care.